People in Boston will vote this year for mayor and city councilors with a preliminary election on Tuesday, September 26th. There will be 3 open seats in the council, one of them being vacated by Tito Jackson, who currently represents District 7. The district includes most of Roxbury and parts of Dorchester, the South End, and the Fenway. Among those hoping to be the new councilor in District 7 is our guest tonight, Rufus Faulk. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me again, Chris.
Rufus, I think some of our viewers know you from your efforts in violence prevention. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. So for the last 12 years, I've been the program director for the Boston 10-Point Coalition, and our main goal is to address violence by building stronger communities. So we try to focus on building collaborations with city and state agencies. We try to be more preventative in our work. So how do we work with that 9, 8, and 7-year-old group population to deter them from involving themselves in gang activities? So we're providing resources such as summer camps, summer jobs, and trying to really strengthen some of the assets that we have within the community. That's our main focus. We still do the intervention, but we believe that in order to address violence systemically, we have to build stronger communities and provide resources and access.
Well, in recent weeks, there has been concern about the increase in shootings or possible youth violence, even though violence overall is down. But it's certainly, in some neighborhoods in the city, it doesn't look like it's going down. So what do you think should be done about that?
I think, first and foremost, we need to be more collaborative. I grew up in Roxbury, and until we get to the point where when a homicide happens in Roxbury, it impacts every neighborhood in the city of Boston equally, we're going to continue to have these upticks, and we're not going to systemically address some of these root causes. So our focus is to deal with the root causes. So we want to make sure we're working with elementary school age children, that we're working with the families to make sure that we're providing not only safe recreational spaces, but we're providing support so that we can sort of stem this tide. Unfortunately, I've been going to funerals for my peers since I was 12 years old, and I'm 35 years old now, so this cycle has to stop. We have to start doing some things differently.
Of course, another thing that's been discussed around the city are ways to increase diversity on the police force. We're losing a lot of officers who get on under court orders for affirmative action, and the new recruits so far, not too many people of color. What do you see as the best hope for getting things more in balance in the future?
I think definitely we have to strengthen the cadet program and expand it. We also need to look at the way our residency policy works to expand that from 1 to 3 years. I think that'll go a long way. And also we have to make sure that we are building pipelines to civil service. So that's making it a vocation, including it in Madison Park, ensuring that we're giving our kids the skill set to enter into that industry right from high school, or creating a pipeline for them once they finish college to then enter into that field. We also got to build cultural competency as well. Make sure we have officers who can speak the different languages that we have within the city of Boston, whether it be Cape Verdean Creole, Somali, be able to speak Haitian Creole, Vietnamese, ensuring that our police officers not only look like the communities that they serve, but they can also speak the language and are aware of the culture. So.
This is BNN News, and we're talking with a candidate for City Councilor in District 7, Rufus Faulk. Rufus, another important concern, especially in Roxbury, but also some other neighborhoods around the city, is the cost of housing. Sometimes it's gentrification, sometimes it's just the rent is too high. What about this?
That's definitely a critical issue, definitely in Roxbury. We're dealing with 2 issues. We're dealing with an income issue because, as we know, Boston has the highest level of income inequality in the nation. And we just saw data saying that 50% of Boston residents make under $35,000. So while we have a housing stock issue, which is definitely critical, we have a more pressing income issue where folks aren't making the wages to withstand these improvements in amenities and development. So we need to make sure that we're building housing stock that meets the demand of the communities that we're trying to serve. So if we're building new housing in Roxbury, we need to ensure that that median income is based on the median income level of the folks living within Roxbury, not taken from the city as a whole. So we also need to make sure that we're doing things to protect homeowners around rising property taxes. And my parents are homeowners on Highland Street, and they're dealing with upticks in their property tax, so they have to withstand that. So we need to make sure that we're not only supporting our renters, but we're also supporting our homeowners, and realizing that this is not a homeowner versus renter situation. This is ensuring that everyone who lives within the city can afford to stay there and be able to afford to buy here.
Well, one thing the council has been considering is new protections for tenants, just cause eviction. Some property owners say this will tie their hands too much. What would you like to see?
I'm actually in support of the Jim Brook Stabilization Act. I think we need to have more communication between our homeowners and our landowner and our our tenants, forgive me. Because we need to make sure that our tenants aren't being pushed out unjustly, but we also need to make sure our landlords aren't being taken advantage of as well. And I think the Stabilization Act provides a happy medium for both. But I also think we need to increase conversations between our tenants and our landlords. And I think we need strong advocacy, and that's where your city councilor and I vision myself doing that, being able to bring these groups together and figuring out, okay, what's the happy medium, and how can we make a mutually beneficial situation, ensuring that no one's taking advantage of it, and also that our housing stock can grow.
Another thing that Boston has to be taking up more in the future than it has in the past is what to do about sales of legal marijuana for even recreational use. To the extent this means sales in the district or maybe some economic opportunities, what would you like to see?
I think around the marijuana issue, we have to be very strategic, and we have to be honest about the historical context of marijuana within the city of Boston and the state of Massachusetts. We've had a lot of individuals, especially within District 7, who were incarcerated for marijuana sales. And the fact that it's going to be legalized now, we need to ensure that those folks who were impacted by it directly by incarceration can also then have opportunities to enter into this new legal industry. I think we should definitely make sure that we're not only being regulators of the industry, but ensuring that we're creating equal access and opportunities for this billion-dollar industry. That's one of my main focus. In terms of the guiding the way in which we are taxing it, that's where we have more stronger relationships with our state legislatures. And I've already been having conversations with State Representative China Tyler and others around how do we ensure that our tax benefits are going to be stretched throughout the state, but also more importantly, those communities that were impacted the most during this war on drugs epidemic that caused so much incarceration.
Well, despite an increase in spending on the schools from the city's own budget, and there have been cuts in other sources of funding, there are still a lot of complaints out there about programs being cut in the Boston schools.
Yeah.
What should we get some more money from someplace else, or from even elsewhere in the city budget?
I speak as a former Boston Public School student and someone who knows that your education is really what prepares you and sets your trajectory for life. And it's critical that we are ensuring that our young people are receiving a quality education that's going to prepare them to not only enter into our local and regional economy, but enter into our fields of higher education, our Harvards, our MITs, our Northeasterns of the world. So in my view, we need to ensure that the programming that are being offered at some of our best schools at Boston Latin are then being replicated at the Jeremiah E. Burke. So ensuring that our quality of education is uniform, and that literally comes from investing in each school-wide, and giving some more autonomy to our local school systems to ensure that they're providing the programming that's going to prepare our young people the best way possible. I benefited from being a part of the advanced work class system, which then propelled me to go to exam schools. But unfortunately, Roxbury doesn't have one elementary school that offers an advanced work class. And if we're talking about expanding programming that's going to prepare young people, that's one of the things that I want to make sure that we're doing, that we have advanced work classrooms within Roxbury that's going to allow more young people from Roxbury to then enter into that exam school structure. And again, making sure that every school, every high school is held to that same standard that Boston Latin is, and that's going to allow us to expand the way our young people are going to be able to succeed moving forward.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Candidate for Boston City Council in Roxbury's District 7, Rufus Faulk.